Luigi's Mansion wasn't exactly the best launch title. I mean, it was fun and atmospheric, but it was short yet still repetitive.
Well, personally, I loved it.
But what if I told you that this game holds the key to one of the Mario series' darkest secrets? Bowser is possessed. Haunted houses have been a thing in the Mario series since Super Mario Bros. 3, and in this game, as well as Super Mario World, the boos in them aren't necessarily bad guys. Mario here is invading their house and wreaking havoc among them. They clearly aren't well-trained soldiers of the dead. They cower in fear whenever Mario looks in their general direction. They just want him gone, out of their house, so they sneak up on him in an attempt to scare him away. But they still can't get over this fear of him. Mario messed up their plans for a peaceful afterlife, and the brave King Boo would have none of that. So eventually, King Boo managed to kidnap Mario himself. Not to try and take over the Mushroom Kingdom or anything, but simply to get revenge on Mario and stop him from scaring his fellow Boos in the future. But what does a fancy Boo with a hat gotta do with Bowser? Well, it's established in many Mario games that Boos can not only possess objects, but also other intelligent living creatures. Take this minigame in Mario Party DS for instance. Boo Tag. If these regular Boos can possess our heroes just enough to make them dizzy, surely the vastly more powerful King Boo can manage full possession, at least, of a corpse. But then, how did Bowser die? As any fan of the Mario franchise will tell you, Bowser seems to die a lot, but he keeps managing to come back. He falls into lava a lot, but then all it takes is some magic, and boom! He's alive again. Lava mustn't do too much damage to Bowser. I mean, when he's huge, Bowser can just walk in lava just fine. And there are even times when Kamek isn't there to revive him, pull him out from the lava, and Bowser still manages to crawl his way out. But now, looking at Paper Mario, the game before Luigi's Mansion, Bowser is defeated by falling from a very high distance, above the clouds even. And afterwards, this is the one time in a Mario game that it is actually stated that Bowser is very likely dead, badly beaten, and will likely never return, as it says. But the issue with this is that the Mario series has no set canon, no set timeline, and a world being made of paper is very different from the traditional world Mario inhabits. Plus, in Luigi's Mansion, the Ghost of Neville is reading a book. Looking closely, the title of the book is Mario's Story, which just so happens to be the Japanese title for the game Paper Mario. It would make sense that the events of Paper Mario would take place in a book, possibly a fictional book, a made-up story about the famous Mario. Or perhaps it's a retelling of an actual event that happened in the past. Mario's great story about how he finally defeated Bowser for good. But either way, the Paper Mario connection seems a bit loose, wouldn't you think? Like an old book. So how else would Bowser's actual death be explained? Well, it would have to be something quite more devastating than lava or a big fall. Like a supernova, perhaps? Or falling into a black hole? Both of these would kill anyone and destroy anything. There's no way Bowser could survive. Granted, both Mario Galaxies did come out years after Luigi's Mansion, but as I said before, the Mario series doesn't have a set timeline. So this, being part of the timeline, is entirely possible. After all, they are still making games based early on in the timeline. Yoshi's New Island, for instance. So let's say Bowser did in fact die in Mario Galaxy 1 or 2. King Boo, being an all-powerful spirit, pieces his body back together, or even just summons it before reanimating it with his own spirit, possessing it. It's also possible that this summoning of Bowser's corpse also reincarnated Bowser, and thus led to this confrontation we see in a painting. But Bowser's spirit is weak from being pulled back from the afterlife. This makes him easily possessed by Boo. You could even say King Boo removed Bowser's spirit and trapped it in this painting before planting himself in Bowser's beaten body. We know, thanks to the end boss of Luigi's Mansion, that King Boo is in fact possessing Bowser's body, though some refer to this as a Bowser suit, or a Bowser mech. Possible, but compared to every other mech or bot we see in the Mario franchise, this is by far the most lifelike. And one huge chunk of evidence is found when talking to the fortune teller, who not only sees Bowser somewhere in the mansion and is surprised because previously Mario soundly defeated him, but she also says, "Has King Boo somehow revived Bowser?" It's clear to me now. King Boo did indeed revive the soundly defeated Bowser, trapped his soul in a painting, and possessed his corpse. And before you assume otherwise, because Bowser here removes his head, ghosts and the undead remove their body parts and reattach them all the time, like in all these examples I'm showing you right now. Now, this could also explain why Bowser is so resilient in later games, stronger, harder to kill, because he is already dead. His body is merely being possessed. This would also explain Dry Bowser. Think about it. Dry Bowser is fully hollow, just bones. Skeletons on their own cannot move without some sort of muscles or some sort of supernatural ability, such as being possessed. After having all of the flesh melted off of his corpse, King Boo still retains possession over the Koopa King. The same could be said of Dry Bones. They still fall apart when jumped on because being jumped on causes fear in the normal Boos, or simply spirits, that are possessing the Koopa skeletons. The spirits briefly leave before repossessing it, of course. So, from the point of Luigi's Mansion forward, we may no longer be facing the original Bowser we fell in love with. We may instead be facing King Boo in Bowser's body, the true Mario villain. Until, at some point, Kamek catches on and magically revives him again, booting out Boo. Exorcism! Yeah! Later